Hello and welcome to this session on performing, removing and replacing an alternator. Let's start with this topic. On completion of this exercise, the trainee shall be able to dismantle the alternator and clean the parts, examine the starter and rotor for open circuit and closed circuit, evaluate the slip rings, assemble the alternator.
Tools and equipments required: trainee's toolkit, digital multimeter, continuity meter, ohm meter, DE spanner 6 to 32, electrical tester, vehicle, AC alternators slip ring puller, executive auto electrical toolkit, electrical test bench, pulley set universal for bearing and bushes. Materials required: carbon brush as required, diode as required, kerosene as required, bunion cloths as required, brushes as required, petrol as required. Let us start the session by understanding the operation of an alternator. When starting the engine, a critical process is set in motion within the alternator. The engine's belt drives the motor assembly, which contains S and N poles of a rotor magnet. As the rotor assembly rotates, these poles passes through each stator coil. This rotation induces an alternating current AC in the starter coil, oscillating between positive and negative. The generated AC is then directly through silicon diodes mounted on a heat sink, facilitating the conversion of the alternating current to the direct current DC. The heat produced during this conversion process is dissipated by the heat sink. The converted DC current travels through the battery terminal, the ammeter, and finally charges the battery. This process ensures a consistent and efficient supply of electrical energy to power the vehicle's electrical system while maintaining the battery's charge. Let us start with dismantling the alternator. For the purpose of facilitating alignment easier during the process of reassembling, mark a line that runs across both the end shields and the starter. Take off the studs and nuts that are used to secure the cover and then lift the lid. The regulator leads should be disconnected. It is necessary to unscrew the screw that is attaching the regulator to the brush box in order to remove the regulator. Take off the screw that is holding the regulator to the brush box and subsequently take out the regulator device. Extract both brushes and make a note of the sealing pad's position. Proceed by undoing the screws that secure the brush box to the slip ring end brackets, then elevate the brush box. Release the starter winding cable ends from the rectifier by applying a hot soldering iron on the terminal tacks. Gently pull out the cable end when the solder melts. Remove the screws that hold the rectifier assembly to the end plate with the slip ring, and then lift the assembly. Take out the fixing bolts. Remove the end plate of the slip ring off. Remove the starter unit from the bracket at the end of the drive. Disassemble by removing the shaft nut, washers, and extracting the pulley, fan, hood rough key, and spacers. Use your thumb to push on the end of the rotor shaft to remove the drive end bearing from the rotor set. You can use kerosene and a nylon brush to clean all the parts except the brushes. Use fine emery paper and a clean rag to clean the slip rings. You can use petrol to clean the brushes. Look at the bearings to see if they are broken. If you need to, you can change the bearing with a new one. Check the brushes to make sure they are the right size according to the manufacturer's instruction and replace them if they need to be. Check if there are any cracks in the drive end bracket and the slip ring end bracket. Let us discuss the inspection of rotor for ground. To check the satisfactory rotor winding insulation, connect a 110 volt AC main with 110 volt 15 watt test lamp in circuit between either of the slip rings and the rotor body. The lamp should not glow. If it does, it indicates defective rotor winding and the rotor assembly needs renewal. To test an open circuit in rotor winding, connect a 12 volt bar 24 volt battery and a moving coil ammeter between the slip rings. The current should be 2 to 2.5 amp approximately for 12 volt. If not, renew the rotor. Use an ohm meter to measure the resistance of the rotor winding. The resistance should be 9.62 plus or minus 10 ohms for 24 volts alternator and 3.22 plus or minus 0.5 ohms for a 12 volt alternator. If the readings are not within the specified limits, renew the rotor assembly. Checking for any unintended electrical connection between the rotor winding and the rotor body or ground. Check for any open circuit in the rotor. Measure resistance between slip rings continuity less than 5 ohms indicates a healthy rotor. If there is no continuity, replace the rotor. Now let's check for grounded circuits. The ground continuity of the resistance should be infinite. If it is not infinite, you should replace the rotor. Here, in case of starter, you should check the continuity by connecting winding leads to a 12 volt battery. The lamp should glow, which indicates the continuity. Check the starter to see if it is broken or acting strangely. If so, replace the starter part. Let's discuss the slip ring surface. Check the slip rings for their trueness in a lathe. Use a dial test indicator to ensure the slip rings are within specified tolerances for roundness and concentricity. Inspect the surface of the slip ring for any signs of burning or dirt. Replace the slip rings if required. Now let's discuss the testing and assembling of the alternator. As informed while dismantling, ensure that the scribed reference lines are in alignment during assembling. Assemble the rotor assembly with the drive end bearing to the drive end bracket and secure the bearing retainers with screws. Assemble the spacer, woodruff key, fan and pulley on the rotor shaft. Assemble the starter assembly to the drive end bracket. Place the rectifier assembly to the slip ring end bracket and secure it with screws. Place the slip ring's end bracket and fix the fixed bolt stud. Solder the starter winding cable ends to the rectifiers. Place the brush box on the slip ring end brackets and secure it with screws. Place the sealing pad and position both brushes. Place the delivery brush mounting plate in position and secure it with screws. Place the regulator on the brush box and connect the regulator leads. Secure the regulator in place with screws. Place the cover and fix the cover, securing studs and washer. Tighten the nuts firmly.
Let's recap this session. In this session, we learned that the regulator's leads should be disconnected. It is necessary to unscrew the screw that is attaching the regulator to the brush box in order to remove the regulator. To check the satisfactory rotary winding insulation, connect a 110 volt AC mains with 110 volt 15 watt test lamp in circuit between either of the slip rings and the rotor body. The lamp should not glow. If it does, it indicates defective rotor winding and the rotor assembly needs renewal. Use a dial test indicator to ensure the slip rings are within specified tolerance for roundness and concentricity.